Welcome to the Voices of Influence, a podcast series where Leadership Through Data and RIMPA bring together thought leaders and experts to discuss things like artificial intelligence, education, sustainability, data and information management. In each of these episodes, I'll be interviewing a range of leaders, and today I'm kicking off the first episode with Anne Cornish, CEO at RIMPA Global, and I'm super excited about that. I'm Jacqueline Stockwell, an award-winning dyslexic entrepreneur and CEO and founder of Leadership Through Data. I empower information leaders globally, focusing on personal and professional development. As an international public speaker, I aim to inspire, motivate and educate in every presentation I deliver. And my goal is to continue to make information management training useful. So Anne, I'm going to throw it over to you. So tell me about you, introduce yourself, what you like doing in your spare time too.
Oh, okay. So you've already introduced me, Jack. So it's Anne Cornish, CEO of RIMPA Global. I have actually been a practitioner in this industry, or was a practitioner in this industry for over 35 years. And the last 6 years I have been the CEO of RIMPA. So a bit of a change, but still in the industry. What do I like to do? Oh, I like to do a lot of things. I actually like to cook. And if you probably could see me, you would understand that in full body. But I enjoy food. I'm a bit of a foodie. And my other passion, besides RIMPA, and obviously my family, is AFL football. So I'm a president of the local club and spend a lot of volunteer time there. So we're volunteering with RIMPA and not volunteering with RIMPA, but doing other stuff there and volunteering in the AFL world. So that's my time. It takes up a lot of my time. I never sit still, Jack, ever.
No, you don't. So I can imagine those outside hobbies. It's as busy as your work life as well.
I don't sleep either. There's not enough hours.
So Anne, tell me about RIMPA.
So RIMPA is just over, it's about 55 years old, I think, at the moment. It was 50 in 2019. So, we're 56 years old this year. So RIMPA was formed by a lot of people, information management, and in those days it was more records management. Some people that really wanted to get together and network and run presentations and events. It started off in the state of Victoria here in Australia. And New South Wales. There's controversy there, Jack, because the Victorians say they started it and New South Wales say they started it. But I think it was a bit of a joint venture. So it started 56 years ago. Some of those people are still alive today and have been recognised for that, which is great. And it's just continued on. So RIMPA I think it started off as a fairly segregated state sort of based organisation, which meant that they parochially would look at trending issues within their own states here in Australia. And then I think it was in 2000, New Zealand became involved. So we had New Zealand involved, like a sister country to us, a bit smaller, less information management and practitioners in the area. So they joined up with RIMPA. And then in 2022, we went global. So that was a bit of an initiative from my perspective and the board at the time. And I have still got a lot of those board members. So RIMPA, when I first got involved, I must admit, RIMPA was pretty much took that attitude. We're a membership company, so, pay your dues and you're a member of RIMPA. But and I was one of those people. I was a member at the time and I was like, well, what's my value? What am I getting for my return on my investment, my dollars? So what we've decided to do is I tried to convince the board. It's taken me a couple of years that we are not a membership company. We are a services company and the members will come. So, and if anyone knew RIMPA 6 years ago would know that we offer so much more today than what we did 6 years ago. We have our own training programs, as you know. We have education. We offer vet training, which here in Australia is what they call vocational training. So it's not at the university level, it's the next level down, TAFE equivalent. We offer that. We do lots of events, as per most associations do. We do recruitment, we provide advice, we do a lot of advocacy now, which never happened before. So we do the typical association things, but we try and do a few things a bit differently if we can. We offer cyber protect insurance for our members, private industry members, and so that's what RIMPA is. It's getting bigger and bigger by the day.
It is indeed. So what I really like about RIMPA is you've got lots of layers. So you talked about education and you've got a wide range of different layers, and that's not just RIMPA's training or Leadership Through Data's training. You've got additional layers on top of that. So can you just elaborate on all those pieces a little bit more?
So our education, we thought we've got to aim at all levels of the industry, right? So it's not just fair. Universities aim at the graduate side of stuff and the postgraduate side, which is, you've got to spend years and years and spend a fortune to do. And you pay for it yourself here. There's not a lot of employers in Australia that will actually do that. They used to. That's sort of gone in probably in the last 10 years, just due to the financial crisis, I would suggest overall. So we thought we need to aim at all levels. So the university's got that covered, and we accredit the university courses that want to be accredited. And a lot of the courses here in Australia contain archives, libraries and records. So they're a joint course. So that's actually not a bad thing, because the students go in and they do a bit of everything, and then they get to choose what profession they want to take up. So here in Australia, archives and records are very separate, and then obviously libraries are separate again. So that's the universities, but we accredit those. So we've got our finger in the pie there, I suppose. Then we go down what we call the vocational training, which is certificate level and diploma level. So that's you can do that in 12 to 18 months, or you can do it quicker if you wish to. We do interactive online live lectures, but you also study in your own time, and we provide all the content. Then we have what we call workshops, which are very simple 3-hour fundamentals. Well, there's a range of workshops. People like them. They're very popular. They're all virtual. They're online. Really, really hit the nail and during COVID. It sort of got RIMPA through COVID, to be quite honest. We were already doing training, but we were doing it in person in those days, or before COVID. Like I was flying around, and the trainers were flying around and presenting training. I must admit, I'm a big in favour of in-person training. I do like it, because you get to, really get to know your students or your attendees, and you get to, tell stories, and you learn a lot more about them than you do virtually. There's no black screens or avatars when you're in person. Yeah. But in saying that, it's not practical. People don't get there. You get fewer. We run a minimum of 2 workshops a week. They usually have about 10 attendees, and they've been running for years. So that there's people out there. So they go for between 2 and 3 hours. We've just introduced eLearn, so online, short, sharp, and cheap, I suppose, for want of a better word, aimed at those people that are really, a lot of people don't necessarily have a full records management area within their organisation, and there's lots of people out there in the business doing the same job that we traditionally years ago would have had a cast of thousands doing in records. So what we do is we provide that, so it's more of that lower level, might do records 10-20% of my job, and we offer that sort of a training as well. We also are doing it because we're working with some IM developing countries, and we know that the level that they're at, so this is a really good thing for them, the eLearn stuff. So I'm really pleased with our framework of training. But then on top of that, and I need to do the plug, we partner. We're not good at everything, and we know that. So we have some training partners, primarily LTD. As you know, Jack, in the M365, the SharePoint space, it's not RIMPA's game, as in the people that we have. It's your game. And I'm like, well, if we can't, why should we start trying to do things we're not good at? So we fill the gaps with partners, and we have another training partner in Cinecon that we use for some high-level taxonomy stuff that we also don't necessarily have the skills. It's working really well. It's a really well attended. 6 years ago, it wasn't a revenue stream. Our revenue stream was the conference, some local events, and membership. So now it's the second highest revenue stream in RIMPA, which is our education revenue stream.
And what I really like about RIMPA is you listen to your members and what they need, and you look at their gaps, and you find areas where you can help as an association for those particular gaps, whether that's education or anything else that you've been looked within
Absolutely.
Your strategies or frameworks, that you're always trying to give more back to the industry and to the members that are part of the association.
You know this, Jack, because I've been really privileged, anyone listening, I've been really privileged to have a bit of a start read of your soon-to-be released book. And you do cover the things that I've always been passionate about. As a practitioner, we're very good at technical stuff. Like we know classification and metadata and archiving and retention and disposal and all that stuff. That's our game, right? That's our bread and butter. That's what we do. When you really want to progress in this industry, you need to understand about leadership and presentation skills and training and change management and project management and all those other things that go with it, which we refer to as soft skills. And I think RIMPA's done really well with that. And as I mentioned, your book covers those soft skills, which are so, and I know you incorporate them in with the technical stuff, which is great, and that's what should happen. Yeah. I'm sick of records managers being in the dungeon or, out down at the corner of the office, and no one even knows they exist, and they sit in their office. But we're to blame for that, Jack, as a group, as an industry, in my opinion. And we do have those skills a lot of the time. We do lots of projects. They might be small, but we do them pretty much daily. And we don't get the credit for it. and we don't actually even think that we've got the skills for it, which is sad. So that's my job.
Yeah.
Try and convince people that they're much better than what they are, and we're a niche market. Think about this. Think about when. Sorry, Jack, I'm just talking here, but
No.
think about when years and years ago, as I mentioned earlier, that records offices here in Australia were huge. Like the big Commonwealth government departments, like Department of Defence, they're still quite big now, but they would have hundreds and hundreds of people working in records, right? That basically, when you were a junior, you would go in and you do an aptitude test at some, place in the city, in your capital city, and they'd put you into a major government department, and it was usually always in records. And the reason for that is because you learn about the whole organisation when you work in records, which it's a great place to learn about the organisation, as we all know. As years have gone on, those teams of hundreds have come down to smaller groups, and we devolved out to the business classification. There's a great example, right? So we asked you, the user, to go and classify records, right? And we thought that was amazing. Here we are, we've got an EDRMS, now you can do your own stuff. I don't know if anyone, and I have not spoken to anybody in this industry that hasn't gone, what an absolute mess that is. Because it's actually a niche skill to be able to classify effectively, right? And to make it work. Because not we, but users out there, or the staff in organisations, they're just happy to put, first of all, they're happy to call it and stuff, as in title the document. And secondly, they chuck it in everything in one folder, because I can't be bothered worrying about functions and activities and subjects and all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, we can do things better, and we can make the users work with our systems a lot better if we're more flexible. But in saying that, I think we underestimate the skills that we have as records and information managers. I'll get off my soapbox now.
No, 100%, because it's the person behind all of what you've just said. So if we don't have the confidence, and if we don't have the understanding of how we can portray that, or how we can influence those things within the business, or how we can put our message across and get people to actually hear what we're saying, where we've come out of our dark, smelly records library, I've been one of them before, that actually we're just going to be on a soapbox and no one's going to listen. So, and that's the kind of rounded things that it's good that there's
we've got to be assertive. We can't just sit back and expect Prince Charming to come and knock on the door, right? That doesn't happen, right? That's just not real world. We've got to get out into the business, and I preach this constantly when I speak. Get off your backside, get yourself out into the business and start talking to people, and not just the few people that you like. I'm talking everybody. And start offering and saying what you can do for them. So it's really important that you'll make a difference. As long as you can keep up your promises and don't set high expectations, you'll make a difference in the business. And as soon as, you know what it's like, Jack, you've got to, if you're an assertive person, you get out there and you start talking, you start getting invited to, change advisory boards when they're buying new IT systems, which is what records people should be on every cab, as far as I'm concerned. And then the CEO starts asking for your opinion, or your director general, whoever it may be, or management overall. But you've got to get off your backside and do something about it, in my opinion. But that's 100%. That's where the soft skills come in. A lot of the time, the persona that goes with the records manager is an introvert. And it possibly traditionally that was the case, with all the files and the boxes and, and wearing cardigans. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah. But my point is that's the perception. It's here in Australia. When I first started, that was definitely the perception. And that's a long time ago now. It's over 40 years ago. It's definitely died away. Don't get me wrong. It certainly has got much more credibility, but it's died down in the numbers. And I don't know if it's appealing at the education level. I didn't mention this before, Jack, and I should have. RIMPA have just got vet training into schools, or a school. We're piloting into a secondary school at the moment. So our year 11 and 12s are doing certificate 4 and the diploma in records management.
Amazing.
So that's amazing, right? So
that's amazing.
It's only one school at the moment, but one school is great, and one school grows to many schools, right?
Yeah.
We go there every Friday, and they'll end up walking out of the school with, in most cases, a diploma in its business and records management. So it's got a mixture. So they're going to have skills in there. So, working in a team, workplace health and safety, those sorts of normal things that when you go to a workplace, that's what you need, plus the records management specialisation. So it's finally, what we're trying to do is make people realise it's a really sexy job. Right?
Yes.
But no one knows about it. I've always said that I want to try and make records management sexy, and my husband tells me I'm going to die very unsatisfied. But in saying that, you can only try.
You can only try. And that comes with a person, and that comes with every information leader. I call them information leaders. Anyone that manages information is an information leader. Actually getting off, as you said, off your backside, but also having that confidence in themselves to be able to articulate, to drive things forward and create their own professional brand, is what they call it, but have your own profile that you can actually have that influence within the organisation.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I totally agree.
Anyone that knows enough about their stuff, like you think about if you love nuts and bolts, or you love to cook, right? That's probably a better example. You like to cook, you can talk about cooking because you're passionate about it and you love it, right? And you can sit in a crowd or in amongst your friends and you can talk about it forever. It's no different if you love records management, and most people do, because you don't. Up until recently, it's not something that everyone sort of picks that I'm going to be a records manager. It's sort of yourself, or you fall into it. But if you get passionate, and I know I am, as you can see, I think when you're passionate about anything, you talk about it. Doesn't matter who in front of, in my opinion, as long as you know your stuff, you're fine. So you just
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Confidence to do that, but you can also create stories to do that as well. So, and creating stories gives you that kind of emotional connection.
You mentioned storytelling in your book a lot, which I totally agree with. I've always been a presenter that gives examples or tells the story, and you get that you've got them listening going, that happened to me. Oh my God, what, And the other word for storytelling, I think the old-fashioned word, is case studies. When we do conferences, the most well-attended sessions are the case study scenarios, because they're actually factually talking about something that happened to them, and hopefully they've talked about the good, bads, and the challenges as what, so it makes it's a true story. It's not just all Cinderella, and people love it because you relate to it. There's at least one portion of that story that you've experienced yourself and that you can relate to. As soon as you relate to someone, you've got them. You've got their attention. You're in.
Yeah. And it's not so overwhelming. The concepts are not so overwhelming when they're put into something that you can understand. So I talk about the ship in my book, don't I? And the captain of the ship and the compass that can guide your way through surfaces and storms and all the things that come with the ship and the cargo. It's all related to sort of records management. And it's how you do that and how you deliver that as well. So,
Okay.
So RIMPA's been growing. You said the RIMPA changed from RIMPA to RIMPA Global in 2022. What initiatives are in place to enhance the kind of impact that you want on the international stage?
Interesting that you asked that question, because I think when we did it, it was like, that big thing about let's just go global, like it just sounds great, right? We obviously have a partnership with ARMA, and we were talking to people like yourselves, Jack, so from the UK. And we're like, hang on, Australia doesn't have everything. So we've got, again, like I spoke before, why should we try and have everything? Let's look at it elsewhere. So we did that. And ARMA and RIMPA have a different relationship in the sense that we really feed off each other, because we're going through very similar changes and maturity and growth and that sort of thing, and evolving. And I think we're using each other to make that better. And it's been working. It's been really a great relationship. So originally, I think we just looked at doing the partnership approach. Like, let's just go global. We'll go with the UK and we'll do this. And then obviously the Global Information Consortium was formed out of that, because we're like, hang on, there's more than the UK, the US and Australia in the world. Let's not just be pretend that we are the world. Naturally, organically, I should say, because now RIMPA is actually focusing on what we're calling IM developing countries. When I say developing, I mean developing in information management, and they may be third world countries, but they may not. So we've been, as you well know, involved with Kenya, and I know LTD have been really supportive of that initiative and have participated in their conference and sponsored as well. And then we've got India that we're working with as well, because lots and lots of people in India. So a funny story, if I can just quickly share, we said before we could create a community of practice in India, the board made there's a criteria that we must have 30 expressions of interest. And I said this to my contact in India, Pinnakin, and he said, oh, no worries, there's 1 billion people here. And I go, yeah, but they're not all records managers, right? So sure enough, expressions of interest came in, rolling in, like 400 of them. Like, so 30 was the criteria, we got 400 in 4 days, something like that. So I didn't plan for that, didn't think, just didn't have the thought pattern or the oversight to think of how big this country was, right? That's well and good, get 400 expressions of interest, but in saying that, it's also a very poor country. So we've had to adapt to that. So it's India, Kenya, Papua New Guinea and Fiji are the 4 countries that we're focusing on, and probably will hit the Indonesia market in the next couple of years as well. So we're really focusing on that IM developing, using our partners as in ARMA, LTD. As you know, we partner with the ARA as well in the UK and the GIC to help those developing countries. And Jack, I have to tell you, we probably basically give away the membership, like it's, 25 Australian dollars for them to join. But every single time they join, it's something I feel in my heart. And I know that sounds really,
Yeah.
but it's just, I've been there. I'm very fortunate to have gone over last year into Kenya, and just to see their faces, to know that someone loves them or cares about them,
Yeah.
wants to train. They're like sponges, right? They just want to learn to better themselves because they're, again, a very, very poor country, and lots of people looking for work. But it's just it's an amazing feeling. You're like, I don't really care about the membership. I mean, I'm sure the board care about the membership, but my point is, it's just that it's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling story. And we've got 10 mentors working with some mentees over there, and they just love every minute of it. Absolutely love it. And they do it all voluntary.
Oh, that's sensational, Anne. That is
Yeah.
really, truly
It's a really good
sensational. So,
story. Yeah, it's great.
yeah, massive credit to you as well.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's just, as I said, it's worth every, all the time it's taken to get there. It's been,
Yeah. And also the impact that you're making on their lives and their associations going forward,
I hope so.
and
Yeah.
for the industry in itself.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, I mean, yeah, a billion people in India. Well, we'd hope we'd have a few good records managers come out of there, you'd think.
Yeah, 100%. I've got lots of Microsoft ones that live in India that are very good with the technical aspects of it. So,
And that's what they're known for. But there's also the people that there should be a lot of people that care about the actual content that goes into the
yeah,
to the systems, right? And work that as a records manager does. Or I refer to them very much so as document controllers, which, if everyone's aware, they're a separate industry in their own right, purely because a lot of them work in construction and private industry type things where it's more version control and, statements, a whole lot of different things. Same concept. And they are records managers with a different name. And we're working with them again here in Australia to identify that, because they don't have an association. So to me, I'm looking at that's a revenue market there happening.
yeah, absolutely.
But it is. And they're crying out for, we want to network and we want to talk about what we do, and so, it's a market there to be had. But that's across the world as well, not just here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Well, thank you so much, Anne. How do people reach out to you, to the listeners that are listening?
Yep, so you can contact RIMPA via the website on www.rimpa.com.au, and if not, you can contact me via LinkedIn. I don't think you'll have any problem finding Anne Cornish on LinkedIn from RIMPA, so yeah, please feel free. We're happy to talk to anybody, and we welcome all members, or anybody, even non-members we do stuff for. So we've got online communities, Jack, and things like that doesn't cost money, but you can still enjoy that networking opportunity, so which is really good.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed the session today. Stay tuned in and listen to the next series that are coming from RIMPA. So thank you, Anne.
Thanks, Jack.